everyone, and welcome. I'm going to let people take a couple minutes to let everybody kind of join as they're popping on right now. We are recording this, just so you know, so we can send it out to people who weren't able to make it. Feel free, you are welcome to turn your cameras on. I love having people to interact with, but I also know you're probably doing a million other things at the same time, so feel free to also keep it off. My name is Lindsay Van Leeuwin. I am the Dean of the Homeschool Enrichment Program, and I will be presenting in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for joining us. To make sure you're in the right place, this is the Homeschool Enrichment Program, 1 day a week on Fridays, information meeting. Okay, well, I want to honor everybody's time, so I'm going to just go ahead and get started. And like I said, it's recorded. I will send this out. So if you have friends that you know are popping on and they missed the beginning, we'll go ahead and send out the recording for them. So again, this is for Ascent Classical Academy of Northern Denver's Homeschool Enrichment Program. I'm Lindsay Van Leeuwin. I'm the Dean of Students of this program. And for all of our focus and all of our things will always be through the tagline, I will learn the true, I will do the good, and I will love the beautiful. That is our classical philosophy that even our homeschool enrichment program will be focused our lens through. Right, our mission is the same as Ascent's mission globally. It's to train the minds and improve the hearts of young people through a classical, content-rich education in the liberal arts and sciences with instruction in the principles of moral character and civic virtue in an orderly and disciplined environment. So we carry that mission throughout what we do in our homeschool program as well. The purpose of our homeschool program is to provide an academic enrichment program that supports and enriches a classical home education and cultivates a community of friendship and learning. That is our goal as we come alongside parents. And we know there are many different types of enrichment programs. If you've done any research, I'm sure you are aware there are lots of different kinds of enrichment programs that you can do to supplement your homeschool programming. So what makes our school and our program unique and different is it's a classical approach. We have a focus on virtue and character development. So we will be explicitly teaching those concepts in and throughout our program, both in our kind of opening ceremonies that I'll talk about when we talk about the schedule, as well as throughout our literature, biography, reading. These are not just things that we say or that are on the wall or anything like that. We actually teach them through stories and through characters and historical characters and really bridge that connection for students. So that is taught in our enrichment program as well. It is an orderly environment. It's content-rich and meaningful classes. So if you've had a chance to look at our curriculum maps, they're online. I'll show you how to get there later in this presentation. But the classes are full of really rich, exciting, dive your teeth into learning, and it brings the content to life, especially the history and literature and art and music and the pieces that we have the opportunity to support with. And so you'll see how rich that curriculum is throughout with your students. I also forgot to mention that if you have burning questions, please feel free to put them in the chat if you don't want to forget them, or you can keep them till the end of the meeting, and I have time for you to ask questions. So don't feel like you're not going to get questions answered, but if you want to throw them in there right now so you don't forget, feel free. Our program is also peer community. We do wear uniforms, and we're going to talk quite a bit about uniforms and why later on in the presentation. It provides family connection. You are the first educators. Classical education believes that whether you're at the full-time school or our homeschool enrichment program, parents are the main educators. It is our job to partner along with you and come alongside you and help you enrich what you're already doing. And that's our role as well in the homeschool program. We are a technology-free learning environment, so your students will not be on iPads or anything like that, and we are tuition-free. And so you won't have any cost as far as tuition. There is a supply fee that is charged, and that covers everything. And we'll talk about that when we come. But this is a publicly funded program, so there is no tuition. So we've said the word classical education a lot. Hopefully, if you're interested in this program, you may or may not know what that means. Here is kind of a very shortened version of what classical education is. The aim of it is to cultivate wisdom and virtue in our students. So you'll notice that learning and that love of learning connects with virtue all the time. We value those things as equal, and they're taught that way. We're always seeking the goodness, the truth, and the beauty. Our curriculum utilizes content-rich curriculum based in the liberal arts. So what we like to use the word tried and true. Our curriculum, what is taught here, both at our program and the main campus, means it's tried and true. These are curriculums that have been tested. These are books that have lasted the test of time. We don't swing with the pendulum. And so that's kind of what that piece means. It engages in traditional, enduring, and authoritative works and ideas. We believe in the philosophy that students are capable of thinking and reasoning. We don't believe in regurgitating information. We believe in diving deep, understanding, questioning it, exploring those topics, and that's what makes students fall in love with learning. We believe in a whole person with a mind, body, and spirits. And the environment students come to know through questioning. So that's kind of the example I was giving. It's joyful discovery, especially in our enrichment program. It's very much hands-on activities and engaging in the materials without the pressure of having an assessment or having to regurgitate that information. It's just learning for the sake of learning's sake. And it's a partnership again with you as the home educator, that you are educating your child. We are supplementing what you're doing, and we're just here to support you. Again, here's kind of our virtues. I'm not going to read all of the definitions, but we will be going through the definitions with your students. Every month we'll have a main focus, but we will constantly be talking about all of these. They're the same as Ascent globally. Courage, moderation, justice, responsibility, prudence, friendship, and especially wonder in our enrichment program. But we will be hitting on all of these virtues and talking about them. And again, we don't just tell the kids the definition, this is what we think being prudent is, or this is what friendship is. We actually teach that through the stories that we're reading, through the historical characters that they're learning about. What is courage? I have George Washington crossing the Delaware. Why is that a demonstration of courage? We believe that children learn best through stories because it's tangible. It's something that they can see and learn and do. And so we actually teach these virtues through these stories and these people rather than just, giving them definitions of what we think these words are. So you'll see a lot of that. Our authorization and partnership. So why does that matter? Well, we are a publicly funded and independently operated school. We are part of Ascent Classical Academy globally. It was started in 2018 with the Barney Charter Partnership of Charter Schools Initiatives, and we are connected to Hillsdale College because the main campus is a Hillsdale school, so we are influenced by that. There are 4 main full-time schools in Colorado. And then Ascent globally is authorized by Charter School Institute of Colorado and governed by the Ascent Board of Directors. So we are under that provision of the board, and it tells you right there in yellow why that partnership matters. One of the things, there is a few assessments and things that we do because we are chartered under the Charter School Institute, and we'll get into that a little bit. Well, we'll get into it right now. State reporting and assessment. So these are some of the requirements either by Colorado law or because we're chartered under the Charter Institute by the state. So if you are choosing to homeschool or thinking about homeschooling, there's 3 ways that the state says that you can homeschool. The first one is a notice of intent. So you can turn in a letter to your district that says, I plan to homeschool my child. That's one way. And then they're kind of under the district, but they're homeschooled. The second one is an umbrella school. An umbrella school kind of digs into, so you're almost considered a private school student under that. If you have more questions about this, we can chat about it. For example, Poudre River, not Poudre School District, but Poudre River is one as an umbrella school that we always recommend if that's the route you want to go. And they kind of provide and take care of all of the paperwork and things for you. The third way is if you are a current certified teacher. So if you have a Colorado State license that's current, you can just homeschool your kids. You don't have to do steps 1 or 2. So those are the 3 ways. If you have more questions about that, please reach out to me. We'll help walk you through that. Because we're publicly funded, we offer kindergarten readiness assessments. So your kindergartners could go through this. You can opt out of that if you would like. It's more of an observation type of assessment by the teacher about what the Colorado State has readiness. It doesn't affect whether they get to go to school or not. It's just information that you are welcome to opt out of it. We will provide CMAS testing for those right now, which is 3rd and 5th graders, if you would like. So at parent request, we don't know yet whether that's going to be at our campus or if it will be, if your students will just go to the main campus. I do not know. I do not believe there is a charge for that. For the CMAS testing. If you're part of the state program, then we would just provide that for you. And again, either at our campus or at the main campus. And when that comes closer to April, we'll send out lots of information for you. If your student is identified as an English language learner, if that's something that you marked on your application, we would provide a test assessment called access testing, and it's just to find out what kind of support your student might need. And then this is kind of a strange one, but it's under that authorization is we offer read apt assessment administering. It's usually done by a test called DIBELS. If your student's ever been in public school, they probably had it. It's actually an amazing assessment. It really dives deep into where a student may or may not be struggling with reading components. So it's actually a wonderful assessment, but they do require us to provide it for you. We don't teach literacy in our program. We will get into that in a little bit. So it's more information where we can give that to you and then you can run with it, or we can help provide some resources for you, but we don't actually teach the reading. It's just something that they want us to do. But again, the DIBELS test is an awesome resource for parents. Here are our school day details. Currently, we are K-6. We are chartered for K-6, so we won't go up to 7th or 8th grade unless Ascent decides to recharter the program. So they may or may not do that, but we won't be growing next year. Right now, we're going to be K-6. That doesn't mean they won't change their mind in the future. Our program meets in Dacono. School day starts at 8:30 and ends at 3. Our first day of school is August 22nd, and our last day of school is May 22nd. We combine our grade levels other than kindergarten. So 1st and 2nd grade are together, 3rd and 4th grade are together, 5th and 6th grade are together in one combination class. Right now, those classes are capped at about 9. So the whole class would be a total of 18. We're not completely full right now. So our classes are a little bit smaller than that, but that's as high as we would go for those classes. And then those students rotate through the 6 classes, kind of like middle school. So they will have art, and then they'll go to music, and then they'll go to nature study. And so they get to move around and be in the different classes and meet the different teachers and who are providing those classes. So it's a really fun, engaging way to do enrichment. Now for our kindergartners, they get to stay with the same teacher all day, except for art and music. So they will be with one kindergarten teacher who will be teaching all the same subjects, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But those classes are capped at 12. So the kindergarten teacher will have 12 kindergarten students with her, but they do get to go to art and they do get to go to music. So those are 2 while they have a different teacher, but otherwise they'll be with the same teacher. Speaking of teachers, so there I am. I'm Mrs. Van Leeuwin, the dean of this homeschool program. A little quick bit about me. I've been a teacher for 18 years. I was the dean of another Hillsdale affiliated school for the last 2 years, and I've taught from public school, private school, online school, and finally landed in classical school, which I fell in love with. And that's why I got to be the dean of students at another Hillsdale school, and I got to open the school and started. And so it's been a really great experience. But this year our family felt really called to homeschool, and we're very, very excited to jump into homeschool and be on that journey. So I have 2 kiddos who will be joining this program as well. And so getting to support the homeschool program while also homeschooling my own kids just feels like a dream to me. So I'm very excited to be here and get the opportunity to do this. Next to me in that picture, Mrs. Tellers is your kindergarten teacher. So those of you who had kindergarten questions, that will be their teacher. And then and then art and music, you can see, are also kindergarten will go see them. And then the 1st through 6th graders will rotate through all the teachers and all of their classes. We have a Meet the Teacher event on the 15th. And so on the 15th, you can come in and they'll have little bios about themselves. And so you'll get to know the teachers a little bit more. And so here's a little bit more in depth about the classes. So the class description for kindergarten is that students get to learn with their peers in a nurturing and classroom environment. It's self-contained, so except for art and music, they're all together and they stay together with a cap of 12 students this year. They get to have art and music weekly, and then those poetry, biographies, nature studies, literature, handwriting, all of that will be taught by our awesome kindergarten teacher. And then with art, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to make that red. In art, the students are going to learn important elements of making and appreciating art. They do get to do, I verified with the teacher that they get to have all of those variety of medias with paint and clay, calligraphy and drawing and all of those fun things. They'll be doing art projects and learn classical artists and do just a lot of fun, engaging projects. In music, there's a focus on instruments and music theory, basic music theory, but music theory nonetheless. Students study classical composers and famous pieces of music. If your child is in 3rd and 4th grade, they get to play the recorder, lucky you. And if they're in 5th and 6th grade, they get to learn the ukulele. So the students are really excited about that. And then we are going to have lots of opportunities to perform in front of classmates. We don't really have showcase schedules or anything out yet. We will. Having a weekly opening ceremony at the beginning of the day provides lots of opportunities for students to get to practice and perform, but we hope to have some kind of concerts, showcases, and whether that will be with the main school or just our school, we don't know yet, but we'll get that information out to you. The nature study classes are science class, so it focuses on the skill of observation. The whole idea of this class is to provide wonder about the environment around them. The students will learn important science terms and concepts, regular time exploring outdoors. So our teacher has to be pretty creative with our setting, but the idea of nature study, same with kindergarten, when they're doing nature study, is to get them outside and observing and creating a nature journal. And then there's a hands-on element every week. So the goal is to have them mostly outside for this science class. In literature, students are going to enjoy classic novels, again, those tried and true books that are read aloud to them. So one of the things about classical education in these books is we like to have them read out loud to the students because they need to hear the inflection and they need to hear the language it's supposed to be. And so they really are meant to be read out loud. So our literature teacher will be reading them out loud even in the upper grades. They will be teaching, again, that explicit virtue throughout the stories, like what about Lancelot shows leadership and those types of things. These are what is going to be demonstrated in these leadership books. It's not just read and then regurgitate a comprehension on a test. It's to dive into virtue and really connect with the stories and the characters. There will be supplementary activities with the literature to enrich it, Socratic questioning and discussions. And then students in grades 3 through 8 would have weekly reading homework just because we wouldn't get through books if we only read them on Friday. So there might be some books that are assigned as your homework. We also have classical performance. This is a fun class that introduces students to the art of speaking. They're going to study and practice and recite poetry. The younger classes are going to act out things like fables and tall tales and fairy tales, while older students are going to spend the year reading and studying a Shakespeare play to present at the end of the year, to perform. And then our Great Biographies is mostly our history class. They're going to read and study about different biographies, but they're also learning scientists, reformers, presidents, lots of key figures in history. This, again, they'll get to engage in questioning and think critically about historical figures. They're going to learn some virtues through those pieces for their Great Biographies class. If you want to know specifically what is my child reading this month, what person are they studying, all those things, our curriculum maps can be found on our website. So if you go to the Ascent of Northern Denver's website, you can go to prospective parents, and then you'll see the enrichment tab, and that has all of this information. You can pull the curriculum maps up. If you come on the 15th, we'll have them printed for your child's grade level. You can grab one. Again, our job is to partner with you. So we want you to know what your child's learning. We want you to know how you can engage with it at home. So we want you to be informed of what we're doing on Fridays. So here's an example of what are you doing at home and what are we doing and kind of where does it cross over. So literacy and math, so teaching reading, phonics, all of that kind of stuff is you are doing that at home. We don't do that on Fridays, and we don't do math on Fridays. We do science and history, so you can cross and overlap there. You can add on to what we're doing, or you can do your own curriculum, whatever you choose to do. We will have literature, as we talked about, and then of course music and art. So in that literature piece will bleed in a little bit for homework so that we can get through these awesome stories. This was just kind of an outline guide. It could be 30 minutes, 1 to 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours a week. This is for the whole week. And it's mostly your homework load is literature reading or poetry memorization or biographies reading. It's not going to be a whole bunch of worksheets. Extracurricular offerings. One of the cool things about being an Ascent student is that they get to participate in any extracurricular activities that the school, the home main campus in Brighton offers. So they're invited to participate in athletics, fine arts, music clubs, just all sports, all school events at the full-time campus. So if you have more questions about that, we can kind of connect you, but that's why one of the reasons we require uniforms, they are Griffins, that's our mascot, and they get to participate in all the things at the main campus if you choose to do that. So someone asked earlier about fees. So again, it's tuition free, the whole program. We only ask for a student fee, so $75 student fee with a cap of $225 for the whole family, and that covers all student books and supplies. So all your student needs to show up for is in their uniform with a backpack and a lunch. We do not, unfortunately, at our campus have any way to heat up lunch. So it just needs to be something that students can eat cold in their backpacks. As far as uniform goes, we do require the polos with logos, and they can be ordered from Land's End. Again, there's information on that homeschool page. It links you right to our uniform guide, and it links you right to Land's End. Our amazing kindergarten teacher went and found the Ascent schools have decided to have their logos be kind of mascot specific. And so the old logo from last year, I assume, or the year before, they just got rid of all of them. And so our amazing kindergarten teacher went and collected all of them. So we have them for our homeschool families. We are accepting them as part of our uniform policy. So if you would like that, we will have these available to you at the Meet the Teacher night, on the 15th. So you can come kind of shop for free and grab an old logo t-shirt if you would like. Otherwise, they are available at Land's End. The boys pictured here are the new logos. So some questions that came up that people usually ask, and I'll go more into uniforms in it here too. Do they require students to wear uniforms? Yes. Why do we do that? We want to eliminate distractions. We want to level the playing field, and we want to remind ourselves that we're doing important work, right? We dress for what we're doing. If we're a doctor, we're dressed in doctor clothes for a reason. You know, if we're a construction worker, we have certain things that we're wearing. It readies your heart and your mind for learning. And so that's kind of the idea and the heart behind the uniforms. Being faithful in the small things teaches you to be faithful in the big things. And so uniforms are really important to us, even in the enrichment program. And then if you do activities and things with the main campus, you're already dressed and ready in our uniforms. So what specifically do they wear? You can click under the frequently asked questions as well on the website, and it links you right to the uniforms, and it lays everything out for you on what students should be wearing, and then again, how to purchase them. So there's kind of pictures of what it is. We don't have a formal day since we only meet on Friday. So we're just wearing the basic everyday wear that the main campus wears. Here is that free uniform. So again, thanks to our kindergarten teacher, we grabbed a whole bunch of our, the old logo. So you can see how it's different, but it's fine for homeschool. We're accepting that. So we never ever want the cost of uniforms to prevent a student from being able to participate in our enrichment program. Feel free to reach out to me with any concerns that you have. But you can also pop in on the 15th and you can grab one of these old uniforms. We have quite a lot and quite a lot of sizes. So you should at least be able to grab one shirt for your kiddo if you would rather have the old logo. So again, on the 15th at the Meet the Teacher event, we'll have these available. Another question was, can I be enrolled in more than one publicly funded program? No, you may not. So because we are publicly funded by the state, they do monitor that, and you can only be enrolled in one. So Apex, LEAP, Wave of Hope, any of the Greeley or Pooter Options program, just as examples, those are all publicly funded programs, so you can't be in both. Now, if it's a privately funded program or non-publicly funded program, your child can be in that and a publicly funded program, but they can't be in both. And that includes online programs that are publicly funded. Am I required to use a certain curriculum at home? Nope. So families are entirely responsible for the home education of their children. So this is not school, it's just enrichment. So you choose a curriculum that works best for your family. It could be classical and match our curriculum on Fridays, and it could be something completely different. That is completely and totally up to you. Our staff is very knowledgeable. We can help you if you would like guidance in your curriculum, but you get to choose what curriculum is best for your family.